The Squid Game is over, but as we speak, Netflix is preparing the big continuation of the franchise, and this one will take place in the United States. And what will we see in that series? Are there already confirmed directors and actors? These are questions we are going to answer. Today in Charlie Tales, I will tell you everything we know about Squid Game United States. Ready? Let's begin. Ending. The Squid Game island in Korea was destroyed, so the games ended. The frontman goes to the United States to visit Gi-hun's daughter. However, on his way, a female recruiter appears, who plays Dakji with a homeless man. This means the games continue in other countries. This scene leads us to the continuation of the series, which will be in the United States. First, let's start with a serious question. Is the spin-off in the United States confirmed? The truth is there is still no official confirmation from Netflix. However, it is almost certain that this series will happen. Since last year there have been rumors of a continuation in the United States, but there was no evidence. Now with this scene at the end, everything makes sense. Coincidences do not exist. It is only a matter of time before Netflix makes the official announcement. Now I will tell you everything that is known so far. This information has circulated on the internet for months and is backed by well-known sites like What's on Netflix, which constantly leak a lot of information. For now, this series will be called Squid Game America, and it will not be a remake. That means we won't see another version of Gi-hun played by an American actor. This series will be a continuation that respects the events of the original series, and that's good, because I would hate to see them repeat the same story with a different cast. They could never match the originals. A continuation is the best. Who will be the director? For now, sources indicate that the chosen one is David Fincher, legendary film director. He was responsible for masterpieces like Fight Club or Seven. Currently, this director has an exclusive contract with Netflix, and this has allowed him to make series like Mindhunter or the animated series Love, Death and Robots. With this context, it is quite logical that Fincher would be the director. And what will happen with Hwang Dong-hyuk, the original director of the franchise, will likely not return. He himself has mentioned in interviews that finishing season 3 was very hard for him. It was extremely stressful, and he even lost several teeth in the process. Let's remember that the director didn't even want to make a second season. The original idea was to have only one, but Netflix saw the franchise's potential. That's why they asked him to make 3 seasons. Currently, the director wants to rest from Squid Game. If the franchise continues, it will be with another director. Of course, it wouldn't be strange if he returns as an advisor or even a producer. Let's talk about the cast. What actors will we see in Squid Game America? First, we can mention Cate Blanchett, who appeared in the season finale as the American recruiter. She would be the most obvious addition. She is a very well-known and respected actress in the industry. She has been in movies like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, or even blockbusters like Thor, Ragnarok, where she played the villain Hela. She would work perfectly in a Squid Game sequel as a different version of Gong Yoo, the original recruiter. Fans received her very well in the season finale, so it all depends on Netflix. As for the rest of the cast, most will surely be North Americans. Netflix has a catalog of actors it uses constantly. If they make an American version, they will surely bring familiar faces. For example, we have actresses like Jenna Ortega or Emma Myers, who are at a great moment of popularity and have starred in several Netflix productions. By the time this sequel arrives, the actresses will be a bit older and would work very well. According to rumors, there are other well-known names on the table. For example, Robert De Niro, who could play a VIP. It's not impossible. De Niro has already participated in a Netflix film, The Irishman, which was excellent. Personally, I would love to see Will Poulter, who appeared in Black Mirror. Another great option would be Jesse Plemons, known for Breaking Bad. He is also a recurring Netflix actor. However, not all will be American actors. Most likely, we'll see the return of Korean stars. For example, actor Lee Byung-hun, who plays the frontman. The season finale was very clear in showing that his character remains vigilant. Also, the frontman was moved by Gi-hun's sacrifice, so he will likely do something to carry on his legacy. Actor Lee Byung-hun has expressed in several interviews his desire to continue in the franchise. He has even said he would love to star in a prequel focused on how the frontman won the 2015 games. Probably due to this disposition, the director left his character alive at the end of the season. Many say he will be the protagonist of the American version, but I imagine him more as a supporting character for the new protagonist. Another character who could return is Gi-hun's daughter. I've read comments suggesting she comes back as a player to look for clues about what happened to her father. But honestly, that possibility doesn't convince me. She's too young to participate in the games, and even if she grew up soon, it would be illogical for her to join. She is literally a millionaire thanks to Gi-hun's fortune. Also, it would be sad to know that Gi-hun's daughter would suffer what he already suffered. To me, the only way she could return would be as a reporter or something like that, investigating the Squid Game organization. She might want to know what happened to her father. That way she'd have a role similar to the policeman in the original series, someone outside the games. Also, this would easily allow her to reunite with the frontman for answers. Another character who could return is the policeman. He ended up alive in the series, but he never had a real conversation with his brother. Maybe the directors saved this for Netflix to use in the future, so we might see him back searching for islands again. I've read comments and crazy theories about Gi-hun returning to the games, but that's impossible. There's no way he survived. Also, the series director himself has stated that Gi-hun's story is over. Actor Lee Jung-jae himself said it was a big challenge to finish season 3. It's clear that everyone agrees to let Gi-hun rest. Let's move on to another question. What games will we see in the next series? Of course, they can't be fully Korean games anymore because American players wouldn't understand them. For example, the cookie game would be hard for them to understand. Another example would be Dakji, which they did use in the season finale. But to be honest, very few people outside Korea knew it before the series. They only included it here because it became very famous. But it makes no sense to play Dakji in the United States. Most new games should be based on American culture. For example, a classic is Duck, Duck, Goose. It involves several players forming a circle, while another player walks around them until choosing one. Then there's a chase between both. This game could easily be adapted into a deadly version. Another interesting game could be sack races. This is a very common game, and we've seen it in many Hollywood family movies. It could easily be adapted into a deadly version, and would be interesting to see. There are also other games played both in the US and Korea, like Jump Rope. This game could return without any issues. There's also Tug of War in teams. We saw this game in Season 1, and it became quite popular worldwide. It could easily work in the next series, and all players could understand it. There are even Korean games I'm sure we'd see again. For example, the original Doll game. This is an extremely iconic game in the franchise. Also, it's a game that everyone can instantly understand without being Korean. In general, I think there are Korean elements that should return for the identity of the series. The charm of this franchise is its Korean identity. The doll Young-hee is a perfect example of this. The series will be set in the United States, but they also can't ignore the Korean essence of the franchise. That's what made it work in the first place. In any case, the continuation of Squid Game is on the way. I'm excited about it, and I'll keep you informed about any available revelations. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.